Okay, on to the next speaker. We have Dominique Cooper. Dominique is Director of Business Development at LeoLabs, whose talk is titled The Art of Pivoting. Dominique.
Good morning, everyone. Wait, is it still morning? It's morning. Yes, all right. Good morning, everyone. So before I get into the deep stuff, I like to start off with a joke. I'm from Alabama, so I like the audience to talk to me. All right? All right, so you guys ready for this joke? Yes. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Oh my gosh, yay! Yes. All right, now that we've shared a laugh together, I want to get down to business. I'm Dominique Cooper, and many would consider me a master pivoter. Now, I don't know if that's true. I just prefer to say yes to adventures and ventures that challenge me and open up new doors of opportunity. There's a saying that goes, I don't know what I don't know. And while I love that expression because it demands grace during the knowledge transfer from new teammates, it also brings me discomfort, the kind of discomfort that keeps me up at night. Why? Because I hate not knowing what I probably should know. Simply put, or for all of the government people in the room, bottom line up front, I love to learn. With every opportunity to pivot comes another interesting challenge. I want to note there will come many opportunities to pivot in life. So let's talk about the art of pivoting. To paint the picture as an artist of pivots, I want to share the many opportunities to pivot I've had the honor of experiencing. Now, to be honest, I always feel highly uncomfortable talking about myself. And I was expressing this to my husband last night, and he was like, Dominique, remember, we have to keep purpose at the forefront. So my hope is that everything that I share this morning is helpful and it adds some value to your life. So I studied nuclear engineering in college, and I immediately went into the power industry. I continued my career working for Dominion Power, starting as a co-op student at Southern Power Company in my home state, Alabama. Then a life-be-lifing moment happened. I discovered I had a brain tumor and underwent surgery within the first 6 months of me starting my new gig as a recent college graduate from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Go Vols! I questioned my journey at this point of my life because I wondered if I needed to pivot from exploring the world, being a small country town girl from Alabama, first-generation student, exploring places I'd never been, or should I pivot to be closer to home for health reasons? Purpose would not allow it. So I pivoted towards a new opportunity to be a part of the Navy's Master's in Systems Engineering program. That was the beginning of more than a decade of government experience, from outfitting Coast Guard ships with self-contained breathing apparatuses to equipping warfighters at the tactical edge with new technology solutions at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. If that wasn't enough, a random guy reached out to me on Facebook. A random guy, to pitch an opportunity to be on the #1 reality TV show in the world. That had to be one of the scariest pivots I've done because I knew I wouldn't be able to control how I would be portrayed on national television. Neither did I have the time to watch 100 episodes to feel prepared to go on a show I knew nothing about. And did I mention I was the program manager on a multi-million-dollar program at the Navy Yard? I didn't have time to really invest the energy to be prepared. But the opportunity to pivot didn't stop there. I was interested in the philosophies of tech startup founders and how business is done in Silicon Valley, so I said yes to another opportunity to pivot. I sold most of my things and I moved to Silicon Valley to join a company of 25 people operating in stealth mode. Isn't that cool? Stealth mode. Who knew just after 3 weeks of living at my new California address, I was so excited about that, that I'd meet a guy who I would marry a year later. Now, that was interesting because a week before I was scheduled to report to California, I had made a vow to myself that I would not date. DC dating is interesting. And then I also made a vow that I would just focus 100% on my career. So to go to California and 3 weeks later meet a guy that I would marry a year later, that was a master pivot. You must have the eyes to see the pivot, to make the pivot. Now, nearly a year later, ping, Purpose sent a text message to alert me that, hey, Dominique, you're probably going to be presented with another opportunity to pivot. At this point in my life, I was exhausted from the change, but I was equally excited to learn more. This was about the time I considered the word focus, as a few mentors had expressed the need to focus. Now, early on in my career, focusing for some odd reason was extremely unattractive to me because I was the type of person who would learn something complex really quickly and then looked for the next challenge. But I was newly married. I was redefining life, and for the first time in my life, I wanted to prioritize what was important to me. I knew I loved mission. I had a strong passion for the development of people and self, and I could never betray my vow to always be learning something new. So, as you probably guessed, I was presented with another opportunity to pivot. I went from a small company to a bigger company, making my way into the space industry. That was another yes to learning something new. And it was a thrilling ride, fast-paced, great impact, mission-driven. But then another life-be-lifing moment happened. Shortly after relocating my entire family to Virginia, the company I worked for was acquired. I felt deep inside that purpose would again be reaching out to me very soon. Ping! Surely and behold, I was right. Purpose sent me a text message, and she was like, hey, what you doing? This was one of the times I did not want to be right. I was actually ready to focus. But my role was impacted, and I had to learn to accept a new, very uncomfortable text from Purpose. It was now time for me to pivot towards me. Now, this was one of the hardest pivots. It took me more than a month to become comfortable with resting. My nervous system was like, wait, we're not doing something right now? What's going on? And although I knew this stop was purposeful, I couldn't betray my vow to always be learning something new. So I doubled down on sharpening my photography and videography skills. I taught myself how to become a drone pilot, and I took on more consulting clients. It was lovely. It was stitched in awesome sauce. I still say that, yeah. It was stitched in awesome sauce. And then I heard, ping, a new text message from Purpose. She doesn't give up, but honestly, I really wouldn't want her to. A few weeks after embracing the soft life, I accepted an opportunity to pivot towards joining LeoLabs. LeoLabs is one of the world's leading provider of space domain awareness, information in low Earth orbit. Shameless plug. Okay, I got past that. Although I admitted a ton of other experiences touched by the hands of purpose and the power of pivots, that was a long outline of my career. Hopefully, you guys are still with me. I didn't set out to master the art of pivoting. I embrace the journey of purpose. I see purpose as a living entity, fully aware of opportunities that will direct you or provoke a pivot that leads further along the journey of success. Nelson Mandela said it best. Maybe I can say it better. I never lose. I either win or I learn. This perspective for me has been extremely critical when facing the unknown. Now, the key tenets of pivoting towards What's right for you require faith, the kind of faith that stands taller than fear. Pivoting with purpose in mind requires open hands so that when it's time to grasp the next opportunity, you don't drop a thing. Pivoting with purpose first requires bravery, the kind of bravery that will inspire you to go at it wholeheartedly, even when it makes you uncomfortable. Martin Luther King said, "Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase." The art of pivoting is rarely about the pivot itself, but about the journey and the growth that comes with it. So look, I have one piece of advice about pivots. See it and do it. What that translates to is no fear and pivot, or no life. Thank you.